There we go. Really quick, really snappy little schnazzy intro for you today. Yes, indeed. Something new, but we're back. We've got a little pre-show to get into here. And I hope wherever you are in the world, you're having a very typical 2020 day, right? I don't know, just 2020, man. Sooner it's over, the better, right? So today I thought, me in particular anyway, if I could get off this planet right now, I would definitely be heading into space. So I've got a lot of space news that we can actually catch up on before we head on over to the main Kev Baker show. So like I say, I hope you're all having a brilliant day. We've got Zoe out there in the chat room. We have also got One Polly, Cheryl, Karen, who else? I think ZX was first today. Good on you, ZX. That was quick, man. We got Saint Marionette as well. PPP from the Wookiee. Big shout out to the Wookiee. Jose. Who else we got? We got Cheryl Namet. Good to see you. You see? Mammoth. Ah, Mammoth. Look what's here today. Look, look. You see that? Yep. Now, I've also got a koala. Well, I don't have a koala. But I ain't getting anywhere near the koala that Anne has got. So a big shout out to Jess and Dan for sending us lots of goodies from Australia, Bruce, Sheila. Yep, so, and Anne likes Vegemite. Go figure. Go figure. Exactly, Mammo. That was pretty quick, right? Pretty dang quick. Yep. I don't even know if it'll appear on camera. It does. Is that not like the cutest koala you've ever seen? Isn't it? Although, until today, I wasn't truly well aware or appreciative of the fact that the koalas carry with them some pretty dodgy things, right? Yeah, those drop bears. I remember the drop bear. Exactly. So, but you don't like Mammo? I actually tried a little finger of it, and I do. I actually do like it, but I thought if I just transfer it onto Anne, people will give her a stick and not me. I do have a wee kangaroo. Yes, exactly. Dave approves this message. That's Dave the kangaroo. Yes, he's Dave. There he is. So he stays like that, right? And I've even found a little bit of a space-related story that goes to Australia as well. So yeah, something a little different today, something to take our mind off all the craziness in 2020. We'll talk about space. And if you listened to me on the show last night, you'll have heard me talking about one of my favourite TV shows that has been on in the UK in the past couple of weeks, and it's called Brave New World. So imagine my surprise today when I seen that wording, that phrase coming up alongside, you ready? Wait for it, the Space Force. Yes, Brave New World under Space Force. So we're going to be talking about that. Whole heap of stuff going on in space right now. I know there's a lot going on in the world, and it's hard to keep on top of everything. And I'd certainly taken my eye off some of the space news. We're going to talk about Voyager. It's called home again. Yeah, ET phones home. Well, it's not really ET, it's the Voyager probe. But we'll get into that. And there's been a lot going on in space. A lot. And that kind of ties in with the kind of sci-fi world that we're rapidly transitioning to, right? So remember, you can follow me over on the Twatterati. Yes, that's why I call Twitter. It's the Twatter. So you can come over there. You can follow me on Twitter/Twatter. and become one of the KBS Twitterati. Come on, I've only got 2,000 subs, 2,000 followers on there, folks. I need extra followers, you know. Okay, now that wasn't the noise I was hoping to play. And that wasn't the noise I was hoping to play. Man. There it is. There it is. Yes, I've been tweaking the soundboard, so it could go hilariously wrong today, all right? So if you want to follow me, it's at Kev Baker Show. I urge you to do so. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We've got memberships as well. We'll talk about that towards the end of the stream. But here is the story here that I want to start with. Moon patrols. That's something that I should definitely be on full moon patrol, right? When we were in the army, we would sometimes get called Oslo. See, when you're a bit slow, a bit stupid, you're kind of a bit slow in the uptake, you would be designated Oslo, Outer Space Liaison Officer. And I spent about 8 weeks out of my basic training as the Oslo. Go figure. So moon patrols could be a future reality for Space Force. It's a brave new world out there, ladies and gentlemen, for the Department of Defense to embark on. And that comes from Captain David Bueller, manager of the AFRL experiment named CHIPS, or I'm going to call it CHIPS anyway, for Cislunar Highway Patrol System. That really does sound like some kind of woke space terminology going on there. But let's dive into it. Or shall we float into it in zero G, right? US military activities today are confined to Earth orbit, but that could change in the coming years as NASA begin to establish a permanent presence at the moon and works with the private sector to develop a cislunar economy. The military foresees playing a role protecting those interests if they were challenged by a foreign power. I think they're scared in case the micro-satellite and the digitized people of Asgardia might have a thing to say about them colonizing the moon. Remember that lot? They've even got ambassadors in Glasgow. I haven't spoken to them. I really should reach out. Not every day you get to speak to an ambassador, but that would make 2 for me, remember? So anyway, it says here, the Space Force echoes that thinking in a doctrine document published in August, which says the service must prepare for a future when the moon and the volume of space around it could become the next military frontier. Told you we're moving into the sci-fi world. The Pentagon made known its interest in deep space in spring 2019 when then Director of Space Development Agency Fred Kennedy revealed that tracking objects in the lunar sphere was on the agency's priority list. A key development last month was the announcement by the Air Force Research Laboratory's Space Vehicles Directorate. Wow, not a good chat up line if you have to tell people, where do you work? I'm not even going through it again. NASA. You would just say, Space Force, right? How cool would that? How did I get there? So, that it will embark on an experiment to investigate technologies to monitor cislunar space. Why do I keep thinking that's like some kind of new gender that they've just thrown out there? I know it's not. I'm not going there. Ready? It's a brave new world for the DoD to embark on. And that was from Captain Bueller. A good name for a captain, right? Captain Bueller. Yes. Bueller, I presume. So the US Space Force is contemplating a time when its responsibilities could extend beyond geostationary orbit, Bueller told Space News. Now, if we're going to protect and defend, the Space Force is going to need to understand the environment of space domain awareness capabilities to be able to know where everything is out there. Now, I've done shows with Ilana Freeland where she's talked about the space fence, and I believe it's Lockheed Martin and a whole heap of other military industrial complex companies that are into that. They're all about tracking all of that space debris out there. Then you add to that all of the hundreds and probably into the thousands of satellites we don't know about because they're classified. That's various countries around the world. You add to that all the Starlink satellites. You add to that, probably over the next 5 years, a whole heap more stuff. You can start to see how it's going to get a bit busy out there, right? It is literally going to start looking like something out of a sci-fi show. On top of that, you've got the whole private space stuff going on, away from the military, away from all of that stuff. Musk. You've got Blue Origin as well, Jeff Bezos. You've got Richard Branson. I think it's Virgin Galactic, they call his, right? It's not so much. I wouldn't really call that a space company because they're really just going up to as high as you can go. You're not really going to the moon or looking to go to Mars like somebody like Musk, right? But I think we can see how we really are starting to accelerate. And things are going to start moving a whole lot faster. And that's why I was saying at the start of the show, it's going to be hard to keep on top of everything because you've got to watch the technology. You've got to watch all of the real stuff that's going on all round about us just now. You don't need to really be too intelligent to read between the lines what I'm talking about there. And it's going to be really easy to fall behind some of the accelerations, some of the news, especially in space and technology. That's okay, because that's why I'm here. It's the kind of stuff I geek out over, and I can keep my eye on it for you, right? Right? I've got plenty of time on my hands these days, so I'll keep my eye on it for you. So just to read a little bit more of this, but it's that language I find really interesting. And I'm not going all conspiratorial. I'm not. I'm just telling you what's happening. And that language, for anyone that's done their research, comes up a lot, right? And of course, Aldous Huxley's book, you go back to that. It's interesting. What you make of it, that's up to you. I provide, you decide. So I don't know if the Space Force are really going to be fighting the Asgardians, but it would make for some brilliant clickbaity titles, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? And then, I don't know, just once we get the Space Force up there, is that when we're going to start learning more about what else might be out there in the solar system, in our own galaxy, the Milky Way? And talking of our own galaxy, the Milky Way, that's the next. In fact, before we go there, take a look at this. This is the Space Force website, right? Spaceforce.mil. It's absolutely jam-packed with a whole heap of stuff. Go to some of the facts here. So it says the US Space Force is a new branch of the armed forces. It was established on December 20, 2019, with enactment of the fiscal year 2020 NDAA, that's the National Defense Authorization Act, and will be stood up over the next 18 months. The United States Space Force will be, or was established within the Department of Air Force, meaning the Secretary of the Air Force has overall responsibility and the guidance, under the guidance and direction of the Secretary of Defense. Additionally, a 4-star general known as the, how cool a job's this, Chief of Space Operations, serves as a senior military member of the US Space Force. So if we click on that there, that's this dude here. And we've seen him out talking a couple of times. It's General John W. J. Raymond. And he is the Chief of Space Operations, United States Space Force. Do you remember Stargate SG-1? The series more than the movie. But you had the guy that used to be in Cheyenne Mountain, and he'd be in charge of Carter and all the rest of them. And my favourite, Daniel Jackson, not to forget Tulk. Bit of a Stargate one. That's his job. He's the guy that runs that department now. I'm not saying they've got a Stargate, but if they've got a Stargate, hypothetically, Speculation Island stuff, if they've got a Stargate, he's your boy. So anyway, it's I'm only joking. I don't think they've got a Stargate. But what if there is something else out there in our Milky Way? What if there is some unknown threat, some as of yet unknown outside force? I think it was Ronald Reagan that said that. I think we might be getting ready for that time. I don't know, but a story like this would certainly play into that hypothetical scenario. Not saying any of these things are connected today, folks. I want to emphasize that. We're just chilling out. We're getting into some woo. Have a bit of a laugh. Breaking news. It's a nail biting day, folks. It's a nail biting day. But yes, something else that could play into my whole hypothetical sci-fi novel scenario. If there is this outside force, remember the last card? The last card they'll play. You remember that? Carol Rosen? About speaking to, that guy, Werner von Braun. Could it start with a story like this? Scientists detect strange, fast radio burst from within our own Milky Way. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I kind of over-egged that because it's not really an unknown message that's coming from some species that we don't really know, some alien extraterrestrial entity out there, some inhabited planet. No, this is coming from something called a magnetron. Now, this is like a neutron star that's got a magnetic field that is absolutely cray-cray, and it's bursting energy out of it, right? It's pretty cool. And like I say, all of that was speculation island, but could it happen like this? A headline one day, we've detected a message, then we'll maybe see something, a grainy image on a distant telescope. Maybe it'll be a probe that we ourselves have sent out. Maybe it'll contact us. I've got a story about that in a minute as well. But just to go over this real quickly, right? Because I like the fast radio bursts. Before I started speaking to Brendan Drackler, the wee astrophysicist guy, and I need to get him back on. I really looked at fast radio bursts as being potentially that alien signal, that ET calls home moment. They're dialing in. We point it just the right way. We've got just the right frequency. We're listening to just the right part of the sky and we catch it. First contact. I used to think that. But there is actually scientific kind of explanations, and they know some of the sources of these things, but not all of them. But it says a mysterious, super powerful blast of radio waves, once seen only outside the galaxy, but for the first time being detected within our Milky Way. So that's kind of cool, and that makes us kind of different. In addition, scientists have traced these outbursts to a rare kind of dead star known as a magnetar, the strongest magnet in the universe for the first time. It's that whole magnetic thing going on, isn't it? A lot of people, myself included, who find the electric model of the universe very interesting. And it really does a good job of explaining some of the visible phenomena that we're able to see with our own eyes in space. And when you start finding out just how many of these things are positively charged, magnetars, magnetic fields, all these kind of things, right? Highly charged particles flying about, it really changes the way that you start to look at space. Or it has for me anyway. And this, away from the kind of fast radio bursts, these magnetars, all of these different types of stars and the way they act and the way they behave, it all ties in with some kind of electromagnetic universe. And I think that's the bit that I find probably most interesting about this kind of story. If you didn't know, FRBs are intense pulses of radio waves that can release more energy in a few thousandths of a second than the sun does in nearly a century. That's even hard to fathom, right? It's like talking about numbers in the billions and trillions. It's hard to even picture that. So it says scientists only discovered FRBs in 2007. And because the bursts are so fast, astrophysicists still have many questions about them and their sources. So while there's still questions, people like me will definitely take advantage of speculating and hypothesizing. And it's damned good woo, right? But like I say, we have had contact Literally, we've had contact in the past couple of days. How do I know that? Because NASA told me. Because NASA told me. And I'm going to come into the chat room soon and see what people are saying about all these topics, and we'll chill out and we'll relax. Get ready for Scotty coming on. But what if you must know by now, we've made contact, right? It's happened past couple of days. Big news. Not alien contact. It's only re-establishing contact with the Voyager. Yeah, remember that man-made object that was one of the first we've ever sent outside of our solar system? Well, it's calling home. Yes, it's calling home. Can you believe it? Do you think maybe it's been hijacked by a bunch of aliens? Do you think that could be what's happening here? It could be. It could be. Maybe. How about it? Do you think it probably goes like this? Voyager calling, aliens coming in. We've got Klingons on the starboard bow. It'll sound like that, right? Maybe it won't sound like that. I don't know. But the story itself here actually says, where are we? On October 29th, mission operators sent a series of commands to NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft for the first time since mid-March. The spacecraft has been flying solo, while the 70-meter wide radio antenna used to talk to it has been offline for repairs and upgrades. Did they send like a repairman? Or did they like just send a message to the onboard computer just to switch itself off and reboot again? And pull the cable out for 10 seconds and then just try it again? Seems to work with everything else, right? A bit of a problem when you've just left the solar system though. So it says... Voyager 2 returned a signal confirming it had received the call and executed the commands without issue. Algo says that radio voice modifier is super cool. I need one of those. Dude, Go XLR soundboard. It does it all, man. It's what streamers use. I probably don't even get half the uses out of it that I could. It does so much. But let me come back here. Use it to say I need to blast my asteroids. I need to blast my asteroids. There you go, dude. There you go. Just for you. See the things I do for all of you out there. Dang, dude. Control Alt Delete. Exactly, man. Exactly. I was like kind of having a comical little... You know me, my mind works really weird. I listen to a lot of sci-fi stuff as well. I was thinking of the little AI that might be on board. It's thinking, dang, dude. It's kind of a bit boring out here all alone. You know, and it decided to like make it look like it was like problems with it, and so to get a signal so that they would send the command to reboot it, you know. I know, it didn't happen anything like that. We're going to find out what happened here. Then we've got Space Woo that takes us to Australia. And of course, Dave the Kangaroo. Telling you, love it, Jess. Absolutely love it. So it says here, the Voyager, or the call to Voyager 2, was a test on new hardware recently installed on Deep Space Station 43. You know, it almost sounds like there's like a secret network of these deep space stations. I keep wanting to say Deep Space Nine because of the TV and that, but you get me. And it says, need to make this smaller. I hate it when these web pages do this. Located in Canberra, Australia. It is part of the Deep Space Network, a collection of radio antennas around the world used primarily to communicate with the spacecraft operating beyond the moon. So since the dish went offline, mission operators have also been able to receive health updates and science data from Voyager 2, but they haven't been able to send commands to the far-flung probe, which has travelled billions of miles from the Earth since its 1977 launch. That's been flying through space since I was crawling around on my granny's carpet. That's a long time. Long time ago. I can barely remember. I tell you, that probe left here in far different times, right? I'm telling you, man. So, among the upgrades to DSS 43, as the dish is known as its designator, that sounds pretty cool. Makes it sound like you're really part of something really super cool there. Are two new radio transmitters. Now, one of them, which is used to talk with Voyager 2, and the other, which is a direct link to the blue chickens. It's not. It's not. You thought it was, though. Did anyone actually out there think it was? If you did, have a word. Hasn't been replaced in over 47 years. Engineers have also upgraded heating and cooling equipment, power supply equipment, and other electronics needed to run new transmitters. So the successful call to Voyager 2 is just one indication that the dish will be back online in February 2021. What makes this task unique is that we are doing it at all levels of the antenna, or from the pedestal at the ground level all the way up to the feed cones at the center of the dish that extend above the rim, said Brad Arnold, the DSN project manager at NASA's JPL. They say Jet Propulsion Lab, some call it Jack Parsons Lab, in Southern California. The test communication with Voyager 2 definitely tells us that things are on track with the work we're doing. So yeah, it was just more information here about the Deep Space Station 9. I know it's not called Deep Space 9. Come on. Let me have it, right? Let me have it. But yeah, they've been upgrading that. When I think about telescopes and things that are upgrading, you know, my mind is going to go to aliens and, you know, all that kind of good stuff. I do wonder if one day, not this one, but the SETI, some of the SETI radio telescopes, do you think they'll ever, like, pick up that signal? I mean, we've transmitted, like, think of everything that's left our atmosphere and it's flying about out there. We've sent the probes, things like that. But do you think there's messages out there leaking out from other planets? I mean, by the time they get here and we pick them up, remember, these planets and the civilization that was there to transmit these signals, they could be long gone, right? Because how long did it take that signal to get here? Unless it's relatively close by, and it could be. Bearing in mind they found phosphine in the atmosphere of Venus. We've got access to large amounts of water on the moon, Mars. We've got the water at the ice cap. We can see how life, right? It's not actually as maybe rare as we once thought. So do you think they'll pick up a signal like that? Doesn't matter what I think. I know what I think. They could. They might. They could make it up. Who knows? I know people wouldn't believe it. That's the type of world we're in now. That's okay. That's okay. But what do you all think out there? All this space news. And in particular, I think the one, if you had to remember anything or something worth keeping an eye on out of all of this, would be this one here. The brave new world for the Department of Defense to embark on. I don't know, I find that language pretty interesting. And I'm going to play some tunes, get a drink of coffee, PPP, and I'll be back in just a moment. Might be the first stream ever where the graphics actually match what I'm talking about, right? Because usually I just have the Earth and space on for everything, but today it actually works. I like that. I like that. Jackie says, when is Brendan coming back on? Jackie, that's a really good point. I know Brendan 1 month we had to cancel it. Then we kind of just lost touch, so I need to set that up again. Really like Brendan. I know some people, he used to trigger a lot of people as well, because he's kind of mainstream compared to where I come from. He comes from the more logical side of the spectrum, whereas I come at it from up, through, down, out the rabbit hole, you know? But it works. It was really good. Kevy, here is some coffee. Oh, Rose, you're a sweetheart. Thank you. Milk and one, please. Flat white if we're in Starbucks. Yes. Maybe Tesla got my mum pregnant in Egypt when he was there. Zoe! Dang, dude! I might start rumours on the Tinterwebs. So, Karen, what else we got in here? Let's just see. John Nelson says, get the deep fryer ready. The Buck are invading Ooga Booga. Ooga Booga. I reckon if any invading force came here from space, they'd probably get to their rally point, I don't know, maybe out by Mars. They would send some probes. They would start tapping into like our social media, communications, giving it back to the mothership, and they would go, oh my word, we don't want to be invading these people, we want to liberate them. Maybe that's our wild card. Don't see many sci-fi movies that go down that road, right? Where they actually turn up and change the game. Where you know, the few power, not so much no more. Breaking news. Yeah, it's yeah, all that other stuff going on in the world today. But yeah, maybe they'll turn up. Maybe imagine the blue chickens did. Imagine how bad I would feel. Bark, bark. Not too bad. Exactly. So what else are people saying? So was your mum a pigeon? Now I can answer that quite confidently and say no, my mother wasn't a pigeon. I don't know who you were asking that to, so I can't really promise that they haven't got a pigeon for a mother. You know, talking of pigeons, strange fact, right? Well, one, Anne is petrified of them. And then two, sitting watching Most Haunted the other night, and it was absolutely epic. Ah, epic. One of those ones where there's literally things flying around. I'd love to show you on the stream here, but the copyright strike just wouldn't be worth it. And they walk into one room and, oh man, what a jump. They all start screaming, and you know what they were screaming at? Here they are, you know, experienced ghost hunters going into some of the most haunted places in the UK, in fact, across the world. And you know what scared them? You would have guessed it, right? Because we're talking about pigeons. So it was a pigeon. Unbelievable. And I turned round and Anne, she was scared sitting on the couch. Crazy. Crazy times, folks. You see, you bring up pigeons in the chat room, I've got a story about it. It's the way we roll here, right? Now, while we're waiting for more comments to come in here, let me just remind you to hit that join button if you want to become part of the KBS. I'm not going to say elite. The VIP room, right? We've got our own kind of VIP lounge. All the graphics change. Populated with Cones and Mick Bakers, and Dave the Kangaroo will get his own little thing in there, and there's flashing lights and there's dancing ladies, and well, there's not quite that. There's not quite that. Not yet. But if you do want to join the channel, and you don't have to, but if you do, just click that big join button and you'll get to see a really crazy video by yours truly that we're not gonna watch it here. You need to click it yourself. You see, I'm learning how to do this now. See, Cheryl says pigeons scare me too. Yep. There's a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the pigeons, eh? I don't know if that sounded like a pigeon or anything. Might have sounded like a really damaged cat. Really damaged cat. Yep, indeed. So, not your mum, Kev. Whoever said his mum got knocked up by Tesla. Ah, I get it. How did dinosaurs become pigeons? Give them 68 billion years. I don't know. Well, I think it's million, actually. I think we would have gone way back, way back there. I don't know, Karen. It kind of bamboozles me as well. I know. Members do rock. You know, I'll go. Great, man. Great. You don't know what you've done. But if you tune into the main show today, you're going to find out, because we're going to talk about a rock. I know. Go figure. We're going to talk about a rock. And we're going to talk about how a rock might play into a piece of evidence that we're in a simulation. And Algo, you reminded me. Yep. Everyone's sitting out there now thinking, did he just say we're going to be talking about a rock on the main show as the numbers start to dwindle down towards zero? Yep, we're going to get into a rock and how it might just be. It might even be a portal in and out of the Matrix. I know, it's crazy, right? I know.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
No, it's a portal. I didn't say anything about cislunar, nothing like that. Yeah. Jules, better late than never. Zoe, am I affiliated? Why would anyone ask that? KGB? No. It's the FSB now. The KGB, they morphed into the FSB. And I can't tell you whether or not I am an agent for them. I find it very rude to ask what alphabet agencies I'm associated with in the live chat. That's just not etiquette at all. There's a time and a place to disclose what agencies you're working for. You see? Dang, they're blowing my cover. Come on, man. Simulation rock. I love that idea. Well, I'm going to play a clip when we're over on KBS on TFR in 20 minutes. And it certainly makes you think. That's all. The DEA? No, man, I'm the DOE, Department of Energy. Remember that cat that talked about how they work in other dimensions? Remember? Yep. Ernest Muntz, I think his name was. He was part of the head of the Department of Energy. Comrade, nothing as it seems, cough. There you go. Let's see what else is going on in there. Kev, your cover was blown years ago when Scotty joined. I love it. Absolutely. No, but Zoe, I'm in Glasgow, and Glasgow might as well be like a little annex of Ireland, because you've got the Celtic Rangers thing here. You'd need to. It's a long story. Odgie, of course, is one of the KBS elite members. He's a 1%er. He is, yeah. I work in the other dimension too. John, I see you there. I knew I recognized your face. Now I can place you, man. I know you. We'd be better off, Kev, if alphabet groups were working for you. Imagine the guests I would get. Can you imagine the crowds we would get as well? Can you imagine the laugh we would have at the nonsense I'd be pushing? Yeah. Department of Woo. Oh, I'm a full-time woologist. I'll go, yes. And I wish I had a unicorn, Carol. But what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to start to wrap this one up and head on over and get ready to talk about a number of things with Scotty Lopez. But definitely the rock simulation. We'll get into a little bit of that. We talk about ancient monuments a lot here on the show, right? We also talk about how maybe we don't understand fully just what we're looking at when we look at one of these ancient stone block monuments. What other uses may the rock have? Why is it many indigenous people around the world view mountains as magical as stargates. There's something about going into and out of the rock. And I tell you, I've got the proof. And I'm going to prove it to you over on the main Kev Baker show today. And what we'll do is, I'll provide, you decide. It's how we roll. Want to thank all of you for being here. Now, sorry I haven't been on the streaming longer this week, okay? That's on me. No excuses this week. Been on me, but it's been a crazy week, and it's not even over yet. But we'll have Freaky Friday tomorrow, simulcasting right here, and we'll take you deep into the woo. The real woo. We'll take your mind off everything going on in 2020, and we will step out of this dimension, and we'll go full woo ahead. So if you want to join me over on the main show, it's tfrlive.com. Join us in Discord, and I'll be back tomorrow with the pre-show and Freaky Friday live. So I'm about to yawn. Am I? Didn't know if I was going to yawn or burp there. See that way when your voice starts going and you don't know if it's your voice anymore and it's a bit weird? It's almost like you're channeling an inner bit of wind or something. Yeah, you see, I thought I was going to say I was channeling some Ooga Boogas. I'm talking of that. I've got Ooga Boogas for tonight's show as well. I've got an update. An update on the portal in the Highlands. And it ain't good news. So if you want to find out more about that, more about my stones, or the rock, should I say, more appropriately, just the tip of the rock, then please join me on the main show. 15 minutes from now, I will see you all there. Keep it real, folks. And if you can't keep it real, keep it KBS. Holy shamoly, I thought we had Ben Shapiro on the show there. Jordan, big up, brother. Good to see you, man. Now, it's nothing you said, Jordan. We were already wrapping up. Don't now. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.